Good morning.
Good morning.
We begin. What's in a name? A rose by any other name would smell as sweet. With apologies to William Shakespeare, names can make a great difference in one's self-identity. Those of us who are unacquainted with the fact that Laverne was once called Lordsburg may assume this former name was religious in nature. In fact, it was named after I.W. Lord, who traveled to California in 1872 and ultimately moved to Los Angeles and then San Bernardino County in what was then called North Cucamonga. Prior to building the Santa Fe Railroad line through present-day Laverne, Lord persuaded the railroad to move the San Dimas and Pomona stations farther apart than originally planned and build a third station in our area, which was named Lordsburg in his honor. Mr. Lord saw opportunities in the citrus industry and was instrumental in building the Lordsburg Hotel for use by potential citrus farmers. The hotel, which never received a paying guest, became Lordsburg College after its purchase by 4 members of the Church of the Brethren. Consideration of a name change was first printed in December 5th, 2012 edition of the Lordsburg Laverne Leader, which stated that the name Lordsburg was characterized as unfortunately chosen to excite ridicule. Another article in the Lordsburg Laverne Leader on March 17, 1917 cited several reasons why the city's name should be changed from Lordsburg to Laverne. These included difficulties with receiving mail and freight shipments, which were sometimes diverted to Lordsburg, New Mexico. The sense of shared community felt by citizens of Lordsburg and Laverne, then an unincorporated area north of Lordsburg, and publicity provided by the citrus labels from the Laverne Orange and Lemon Association were cited as other reasons. A newspaper announcement of the upcoming election to change the city's name from Lordsburg to Laverne was published on August 9, 1917, with an election on August 14, 1917. The result was 239 affirmative and 81 negative votes. The name Lordsburg became Laverne on August 16, 1917, by a vote of the City Board of Trustees. To commemorate this event, a mock wedding was held between Miss Lordsburg and Mr. Laverne. Today, we reenact the 100-year celebration of that auspicious event. Come celebrate the wedding of Miss Lordsburg and Mr. Laverne.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here because we want to make it clear Miss Lordsburg wants to change her name.
Miss Lordsburg wants to change her name.
That is why all of us come
Miss Lordsburg
Wants to change her name.
to see her marry Mr. Laverne.
Miss Lordsburg wants to change her name.
Okay, that's enough. You can sit down. That was from my wife. Thank her later. And some history to learn. 'Twas back in 1917. They didn't do it to be mean, but people wanted not to be Lordsburg anymore, you see. And so they found a groom and bride and stood them up side by side, married them up and married them down, and changed the name of our fair town. And that is why we're gathered here, because we want to make it clear, Lordsburg will be no more.
Lordsburg will be no more.
Laverne for us, both rich and poor.
Lordsburg will be no more.
If you think that we should cease, speak now or hold your peace. Speak up now, but speak in rhyme. Good, that's done, and now it's time to give away the bride so fine, even though she's... Maybe she's not old enough. Who gives the bride in matrimony, be it real or be it phony?
The citizens of Lordsburg do.
Something borrowed,
Something blue.
Then will you answer me right now these questions as your wedding vow?
Yes, we'll answer you right now these questions as our wedding vow.
Mr. Laverne, will you take her as your wife? Will it be for all your life?
I will take her as my wife. It will be for all my life.
Miss Lordsburg, will you change your name to his's? Laverne will follow after Mrs.
I'll change my name to his's. Laverne will follow after Mrs.
To you both, will you do it good or bad? If you're happy or if you're sad?
Yes, we'll do it, good or bad, if we're happy or if we're sad.
Will you have and will you hold, just as I've already told?
Yes, we'll have and yes, we'll hold, just as you've already told.
Will you do it if you're rich or if you're poor and in a ditch?
Yes, we'll do it if we're rich or if we're poor and in a ditch.
Will you do it when you're fit and also when you're feeling sick?
Yes, we'll do it when we're fit and also when we're feeling sick.
Will you do it with all your heart from now until death do you part?
Yes, we'll do it with all our heart from now until death do us part.
They will do this with all their heart.
They will do this with all their heart.
From now until death do them part.
They will do this with all their heart.
They will do it if they're rich.
They will do this with all their heart.
And when they're broke and in a ditch.
They will do this with all their heart.
And when they're fit and when they're sick.
They
will do it with all their heart.
That's enough. Can't we get this finished quick? If you stick through good and bad, if you stick through glad and sad, if you will have and you will hold when you are young and when you are old, and in sickness and in health, and when you're poor and when in wealth, if you'll do it through and through, then answer these words, I do.
I do.
They will stick through good and bad. They will stick when glad and sad. They will have and they will hold when they're young and when they're old, and in sickness and in health, and when poor and when in wealth. And she can change her name to his's. Laverne will follow after Mrs. We need to see a wedding kiss to change that old name to this. At this time, we have a special presentation from our county supervisor.
Deborah Mendelson.
No, yeah, Catherine Barger's office, and Deborah Mendelson will do the presentation.
Okay. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Laverne, as you stand here newlywed, you may not realize the tremendous impact you will have on future generations. Why, I predict 100 years from now, people will gather on this very spot to pay tribute to your union. You might even inspire a historical society to be named in your honor, with the mission to preserve history and share your legacy and teach citizens about your passion for this community. In fact, I predict that people will come to recognize that your union was the beginning of a great time of prosperity for the citrus community, and perhaps one day there might be a thriving university just a stone's throw from here, bustling with educators and students and researchers. In fact, I'm confident that this community will be nestled in a growing metropolis that might come to be known as the Inland Valley or the Inland Empire. And while it will be a hugely successful center of commerce, it will always retain its small city and small town feel and be an attractive and sought after place to raise a family. And if I were to look to the future, I would imagine that all would come together to rejoice your union, especially the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors, on whose behalf a beautiful scroll will be hand-drawn and presented to you, much like the one I have for you today to present on behalf of Los Angeles County Supervisor Catherine Barger. Congratulations.
Thank you, Deborah. Miss Lordsburg will be no more. That is what we're gathered for. Everyone who's gathered here, if you agree, then give a cheer.
Mrs. Laverne? Mr. Laverne.
The time for marching out's at hand. So maestro, please strike up the band.
Thank you, everybody. This event has been a joint venture of the Verne Historical Society, the city of Laverne, and Hillcrest. I especially want to thank Skip Clegg for his direction and all the players who gave of their time and their energy to gather here today and reenact the wedding of Miss Lordsburg to Mr. Laverne. We have a couple of announcements. At this time, our best man, Mr. Al Eisenwinter, is going to lead you in a song of Laverne, and after the song, if you would like, we have a little reception at Chase's restaurant right down the street, where we will be serving a few refreshments, and the best man may propose a toast. So Al, you're on.
Thank you. I'll be loving you, Laverne. Oh, the love that's true, Laverne. When the things you plan need a helping hand, I will understand, Laverne, Laverne. Days may not be fair, Laverne. That's when I'll be there, Laverne. Not for just a day, not for just an hour, not for just a year, but all